My name is Mònika Alíz Mészáros, and I represent the South Trans-Danubian Regional Innovation Agency from Pécs, Hungary. I am a project manager working on this project, and besides that, I am running my consultant company, a small SME in Budapest, Hungary. First, I would like to say a few words about the background of this presentation. As Nusha has just said, in the beginning of the project, there were trainings delivered in all the project partner countries. And in Hungary, a colleague of mine, Timea Oszilagyi, was delivering presentations on different topics related to data analyzation, marketing, and AI. You can find those trainings because they are much more comprehensive on the website, and they are subtitled in Hungarian and English. So, as it was said, I would like to say a few words about data-driven marketing. And that is why I would like to start with 3 questions you can see on the screen. Because it is very important to reply to the main question. Do you really know your customers, or do you just think you know your customers? Why am I asking this? Because sometimes SMEs believe they know their customers, but then the data is showing a completely different thing. First of all, it is very important that you can only measure data, and you can only measure what is coming through web pages, for example. So if you do not have enough orders coming through your website, there is a problem with the website and you need to understand that problem. That is why you need to analyze the data coming through that company page. Here, I just have some sayings about metrics which can help you to better understand your customers if you are an SME. Measure what can be measured and make measurable what cannot be. This was said by Galileo, and of course, the company can grow if the numbers are good, if the analytics show a good result, and if you understand your customers. So this is the key message I would say for today. If you want to understand your customers, first you need to check your website and see what your website data is saying. How, for example, people and customers can find you and what they find when they visit your website. They are coming maybe through a blog, they are coming through YouTube, or they are coming through a LinkedIn web page. It is all very important and related to analytics, whether your web page is working well or if your web page is not working well. Do the customers come through a social media platform, for example, like YouTube, Instagram, or LinkedIn? That is also very important to know for an SME. Also, if you have an email database, then you can share better customized information with the customers, so then they can always be sure that they only receive what is important for them. Of course, the customers should be understood through these metrics. And then you as an SME should analyze these metrics because they will describe how your customers are behaving. And that is the most important thing for you as an SME to reach them. So the website traffic on one hand is important information. On the other hand, if you understand the customer's behavior through the website traffic, then you can change what is not working well in order to reach even more customers. You can understand the number of visitors, how many people visited your website, and how long they were staying at the exact sub-web page of yours. Is that sub-web page important, and does it contain important information, or should you change it? That is why you need to understand the average time that they spend on your web page. And of course, when they leave the web page, and if they check the contact or if they register for your newsletter, these are all very important pieces of information. We all know what search engine optimization is because this is always related to every SME website. And this is how we can reach even more customers. So if you work with your IT specialist and marketing specialist, if you have them, it is very important to discuss this search engine optimization because sometimes you do not need to mobilize a crowd to have success. Sometimes you just need to better target the customer group. What kind of activities should be done related to the numbers and analytics you can do with the website information, for example? You can analyze the number of orders, the number of forms filled out, and the number of subscribers. Basically, you can see how many customers have been going through the whole web page because you create your web page for a reason. The goal is the action, not just to have the visitors. Even if you have fewer visitors, but they do more actions on your website, it is even better. We have search engines as well, which show what your customers are looking for. You need to understand what keywords, for example, lead them to your website. What the rank for relevant keywords is also important. The keywords for competitors, organic searches, and paid advertisement. Of course, you also need to think of what problems you would like to solve by offering information through your website, because this will all help you to better perform in communication to reach your customers. How to process the data on your website, for example. Let us draw a conclusion. If you have low traffic on your website, it is obvious that you need to advertise more and still spread the word among the customers. If there is a lot of traffic but low activity, it means that the content should be changed because the website is difficult to understand and it is difficult to navigate. If you have high exit rates, the keywords are most probably not well articulated, and there is no relevant content at all for your customers. So there an action should be taken and you need to better communicate towards your customers. Why is it important? Because it will help you to support decision-making, and that is why you need to create indicators and an index. So, based on the gathered data which you understand related to your customers through your website, it can help you to better do the decision-making. To measure, for example, how many people have ordered from your website among the visitors who were just dropping in there. Then this indicator can be a percentage value, and then it will lead you towards the goal, which can be to increase this value, this percentage, of how many people are ordering through your website. Of course, there are practical tools which can help you to better articulate everything related to your activities and help to develop your websites. There are automatic mail and newsletter tools such as MailerLite and MailChimp. I am sure that most of the SMEs are already working with these very special tools, which can save time for all SMEs, from the small ones to the bigger ones as well. Of course, there are keyword search tools. Here you can see a list: Ubersuggest, SEMrush, and there is even the Keyword Planner, as it is called, and RFs and website analytics, which can help you, as I have said, to understand the metrics and to better use the keywords and even the search engine optimization on your website. It is like Google Analytics or SimilarWeb. I am sure you are already using most of these tools, which can be very relevant and successful for you. And I would like to give a mini example. For example, as I have said earlier, if you have high traffic on your website but low engagement, then the following method should be used. And the following method should be basically thought through at your SME. The problem is the content itself, so it means that the communication is not efficient. The solution is a clearer message and communication. So you need to sit together with your marketing specialist and IT specialist. And through search engine optimization, you need to better articulate this towards your customers. If you do not have an IT specialist or marketing specialist, you can, of course, use the help of AI. AI, which is also a good tool, because artificial intelligence tools in marketing can be very, very beneficial for small and medium-sized enterprises, and even micro ones. Why am I saying this? Because you can create new content, you can target customers, and you can save a lot of time. But you need to be very cautious. You need to provide clear input for the AI tools to support your work. And you need to have a special marketing mindset. So for example, when you create content, you need to prompt the AI tool very well. You need to also include in the text, if you would like to reach your customers, that the AI should work as a marketing expert and write an ad, a campaign, or whatever, which will help you to better target your customers and to better reach your customers. So please do not forget that it can save time, but at the same time, you need to provide clear inputs for the AI tool. And what I would like to say as the practical takeaways for SMEs for today: you need to answer the 3 key questions that I asked in the beginning. You need to understand your customers. How you can understand them better is to use the data and data analysis, for example, coming through your website. You need to improve your communication. How can you do it? You analyze the data that is coming through your website, and then you understand the insights related to them. And this will all lead you to make better decisions. And the most important message is that you do not need complex tools. Use AI, but please use it carefully and prompt the AI very well. And if you need marketing keywords, you need to include in the prompt that the AI should work as a marketing person or a marketing supporter. Data will not replace your thinking, so you as an SME leader should still be the boss and the most important person in this process, but the data can support you to make better decisions, which will lead you, in the end, to a profit, hopefully. This was my presentation in a nutshell related to data-driven marketing and special tools. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, my colleague Timea El-Salaji is also here with us today online, so she can answer incoming questions in the chat box.